Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Excalibur Roundtable Extended Tech Talk. I'm joined today by Tom Petley from HaloITSM. Tom, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me back.
Well, it's always fun to get together and talk about Halo. Talk about Halo. You know, we get to show this to customers, and they just go bonkers. It's so exciting, so innovative, and really the one thing we always hear is so fast, very responsive. But one of the things that comes up quite frequently when you look at ITSM transitions as a customer's transitioning from one platform to another is the ability to migrate some or large portions of their data. Now, generally speaking, there's discussions that have to be had. Sometimes just bringing over a bunch of data isn't necessarily in the customer's best interest. But in many cases, doing those migrations can be complicated and they can be costly to be done because many tools don't have migration components built in, or you're temporarily licensing some sort of third-party tool in order to do it. So you have that added cost that's part of that. Now, one of the things that is exciting to me when we have that question come up is Halo's kind of already thought of this. And you guys have built some things into the platform that make the data migration something that is easy and relatively intuitive for the customer to do. Can we talk about that a little bit? I know we're gonna see it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Data migration is one of those things. It's a cornerstone of any project that data's got to move from one system to another. It's very rare that we ever kind of work with people that aren't using a system already nowadays. It's something that everyone's got a system of some sort. And yeah, data needs moving. And when we talk about data moving, it's always coming from the other tool. So sometimes a lot of data is like come from AD or something like that, and that's just simply hooking into another tool, and that's easy. Every tool will do that. The data migration is moving those more complicated things, those existing incidents and requests and things that maybe even have custom fields and kind of custom workflows and things like that. That's when it gets a little bit tricky, and that's when it can kind of hamper a project and slow things down. So what we've done is we've always had kind of scripts that we run behind the scenes to basically do the heavy lifting for us when we're implementing. But we decided to bring them into the front end as well, so you can actually, the customer and people can do it themselves, and they can click a button and kind of map it themselves. So I thought I might just show you one today, a ServiceNow one that we've got. I could share my screen here and just show you that.
And ServiceNow is one of the tools that migrations are coming for, and I know we're working with you on a couple of others as well. So it's not necessarily just a single tool, but as with kind of, it seems like everything in Halo, there's constant innovation happening.
Yeah, so just kind of part of our ethos that we just want to make things as easy as possible, really. It's something that sounds silly, but kind of if moving data becomes a headache, then we'll just come up with a solution for it. So in this case, we've got this ServiceNow one. It's quite simple. It's you put the kind of the URL, the authentication side of things at the top here, so allowing us to connect on. And then we're just choosing our entity, so which ServiceNow entity it is. So it could be any of these options. We may add some additional options in future, but these are the really core ones that we find come up most of the time. And the nice thing about doing it this way, kind of using API calls and things like that, it's all coming across in the right format. We're sanitizing it, we're kind of linking it with the Halo entities, and it just basically does it all for you. And the other thing you find is if you do kind of, when you are migrating, if you are trying to kind of export to CSV, importing from CSV, that kind of stuff, you very quickly, if you're not doing things in the right way, you'll kind of lose your images. You'll find it really hard to kind of map in knowledge base articles, the correct kind of embedded images and attachments and things like that. So by doing this, we kind of do all the hard work for you, and it just makes it easy, really.
So that's all happening in the background, and Halo's built this to literally be point and click.
Exactly. So there's various options that come up as part of each of the settings as well, the imports. So we do give you some control over that data as well. So in this case, we're kind of giving you the option to assign to an FAQ list if you want to when you import them. If we were to look at something like the incidents, I think there's other options here. How are we going to map that into Halo? What statuses are we going to do? Just open or closed, or what date period? So there's various kind of filters and things like that you can do as part of it as well. So you're not just bringing everything in, you're just bringing exactly what you need to and exactly the right mappings.
Yeah, so while one customer wants to bring all of them in, another customer only wants to bring everything in since the first of the year. Another customer wants only the open ones because they're going to use the other system in more of an arc. So all of those different options are available.
Exactly, yeah, and it's behind the scenes is actually quite simple. All we're doing is passing a date range to ServiceNow, and then it's going to kind of retrieve that information. So it's pretty straightforward. But like I say, it's just making things easy. That's kind of one of our kind of key kind of fundamentals of what we do. Really, just trying to be intuitive and keep things simple. Really.
Well, as always, you understate what's happening. Oh yeah, it's just we're just looking up incidents and just pulling a couple of things over. Having been somebody that's been part of data migration schemes, there's a lot more that's going on in the background. But really, with everything that you guys do at Halo, it's about making it simple for the customer. As you said, you're doing the heavy lifting and the things that have to happen in the background to make it successful.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of, if we kind of start from the customer experience first. We're like, what does the customer want to do? What are their requirements? They're going to want to bring it open, closed. They're probably going to want to set a date range, and that's kind of how we start all of these. Everything we do really is that customer first approach, and then the kind of the background stuff kind of comes afterwards, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, as always, it's exciting to see the innovations that are happening at Halo to, again, customer experience being number one and being able to drive value in the migration and the ease of migration.